Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Holy and Hormonal podcast. My name is Kim Gargano. If you're new here, I created this podcast as a safe space for us to approach periods and our hormones from a Christian perspective. We have a special guest today, my puppy. Her name's Callie, and I apologize for the lighting in here if you're watching on video. Still haven't figured out how to fix the lights in the fan, and it's raining outside, and it's just kind of a dreary day, but I wanted to hop on here to mostly talk about the things that I've been wrestling with the past month, 2 months, I would say my life. Because as you guys know, if you follow me on the Holy and Hormonal Instagram page, I shared a lot about how the past month I've been dealing with a lot of anxiety. I had a really bad anxiety attack, one of like the first ones in my entire life on our anniversary trip. My husband and I went to Maine. And it was really, really, really hard and scary and intense. So I kind of wanted to just talk about all those things and share the things that the Lord has been putting on my heart and see where this episode goes. So let's just pray. Jesus, I thank you so much that healing is possible. But I thank you that healing is painful. And I'm saying thank you for that because I know that there are things that are working because I am being transformed and changed from the inside out. And I thank you that your word is always good, that you are always good, and that even when things are hard, I'm still in the palm of your hand. I pray that you guide this podcast today. I pray for every single woman that's listening on the other end of the speakers, and I just pray that you just reveal things to us today. In the mighty name of Jesus, amen. Okay, so to back it up all the way to childhood stuff, you guys know that I've struggled with bullying from both my family and by people in school. And so from a very young age, I developed anxiety. And I didn't really know that I had anxiety. I didn't know that I've always had a dysregulated nervous system. I just always thought this was kind of my normal until I went to therapy. For the past 5-6 months, I've been in therapy, and it's been the most revealing, convicting, healing, painful journey of my life. This is the first time ever in my life I've actually dug really deep. Like, I was in therapy and I did EMDR for some past stuff, and that was very helpful, but I never really put language to the things that I've been struggling with for a very long time. All right, all that to say, I have functioned with a low-grade anxiety for majority of my life without even me realizing that it was low-grade anxiety. So my husband and I flew to Maine, and it ended up not being as magical as I thought it was gonna be. We loved the area we were staying in, but it just it didn't meet the expectations, I guess, that I had. And I am not the type of Frank and I are not big travelers, and that probably sounds berserk to some people because traveling is everything to some people, but we just don't care to travel. And I don't have the travel bug. I'm not dying to go to certain cities, but specifically Maine, I was like, oh my gosh, it's on my bucket list. I really want to go. And there was some towns like Kennebunkport and I forget the other town, the cute coastal towns of Maine that were so beautiful, but the area we were staying in itself was more industrial than I thought. And I guess I just felt really embarrassed, and I deal with a lot of shame, which is what we're gonna talk about a little bit later on, because shame and the fear of embarrassment are two roots of my insecurities, of my anxiety, of my false sense of worth and identity. But I felt so embarrassed, and so I was really sad that I just kept trying to overcompensate the whole entire trip to be no, isn't this the best lobster roll you ever had in your life, and just trying to hype it up to make it feel more fun than it was. And that was a disappointment. And then I was on day 2 or 3 of my period, and I was just super low energy. I wasn't properly hydrating from the plane. And so we got there on a Friday, and that Saturday night I had the craziest anxiety attack of my entire life. And also to note, I had caffeine on an empty stomach, which I literally have never done in my entire life. I don't know what I was thinking on this trip. I was like, I'm just going to escape reality. I just like want to have fun and like whatever. I had a latte with a shot of espresso, maybe like this much of a cup, like a fourth of a cup of it on an empty stomach. And that was mistake number one. And then I decided I want a matcha at 2 p.m. and had almost an entire matcha at 2 p.m. What am I doing? I don't know. Especially day 3 of my period. I'm dehydrated from the plane. I'm in a new environment, so I'm already hyper vigilant. I don't sleep well when I travel because I'm like, where the heck am I? I'm not home. I don't know if this is safe. Needless to say, had a really bad anxiety attack that night at dinner. And my anxiety or my panic attacks always kind of start with like tingling in my hands. And then I'll normally be able to regulate and like shake it off and regulate. But this time, like it was so quick the way that this thing pulled me under. Like the tinglies were moving all the way up my arm. And then it started in my stomach, and my stomach was starting to feel paralyzed. And I was like, bro, what is going on? So I literally got up immediately, went to the bathroom, pushed against a wall, started doing some jump squats, shaking it out, while all mentally being like, what the heck is going on? What the heck is going on? Like, we were having a beautiful appetizer. The food was unbelievably good. And all of a sudden, I just had this whoosh as I was digesting. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to drop. And then I started spiraling. So I was like, I can't pass out in front of all these people. That's so embarrassing. They're going to make fun of me. Again, hello. A lot of my anxiety is fear of embarrassment, fear of public humiliation, because I've been publicly humiliated many times in my life. And I've just always been made fun of and poked fun at and, called out and singled and awful stuff. But I was like, oh my gosh, I'm starting to spiral. So I shook it off, sat back down. The whoosh happened again. I was like, Frank, I'm so sorry. Like, I don't think I could stay here. Like, can we please just like pay the bill and go? And I was fighting for my life that whole entire time. And I couldn't pinpoint what caused it. At that point, I hadn't put together that my nervous system was just way above its threshold of what it could normally handle and like shake off regularly. But all these added outside stressors, the caffeine, the travel, the being hypervigilant, the being disappointed that this trip wasn't what I thought it was going to be, all of it stacked on top of each other, like made my nervous system be like, well, we're going to crash out because this is too many things to handle. Being on my period, another thing, my body's not capable of handling stress as much as it would if I was like in the follicular or in the ovulatory phase. Excuse me. So we left, and that whole entire night, I was in fight or flight. I was sitting there trying to regulate. I was trying to box breathe. I was trying to tap, like do EMDR tapping on my chest. I was trying to ground myself. I was trying to like physically exert myself to like get the energy out. Nothing was helping. The whole entire rest of that week, I was in fight or flight and I couldn't get out of it. The whole entire next day, I was thinking to myself, well, I can't eat food because I think digestion is what caused that whoosh feeling in the first place. So now I'm associating food with being bad. And we all know that that's not right and that's not healthy at all. So I was scared to like eat in restaurants. I was scared to be in uncontrolled environments. I was scared to literally do anything because I was so afraid of feeling that feeling again of like the pins and needles and that out of control, out of body experience. So I made it through. I didn't have another whoosh moment. I didn't have anything else. I just hydrated myself really well, got hydration packets, electrolytes. And then we flew home. We ended up coming home a day early, and I was still stuck in fight or flight for maybe 3 days after that. And here's where the Lord has really been revealing so much to me, because in my state of fight or flight, I kept having the same feelings of when I was in Maine. I was like, I just need to be home. I need to be in my own space. I need to feel safe in my own space. I get home. I'm like, this place feels like a prison. I'm not safe in this house. I'm not safe in my body. And then God was like, nowhere will feel safe until you feel safe with yourself. He was like, you are so afraid of your emotions. You're so afraid of feeling off in your body. You're so afraid of being sick. You're so afraid of experiencing things that aren't normal because they're triggers. Because I go back to, oh my gosh, is my autoimmune disease going to kick back in? oh my gosh, like, am I going to have to, like, am I going to relapse and have to go through all this crazy stuff again? Like, my body stored a lot of trauma from one, childhood, from like being abused, but then also like going through my medical crisis when I was like 15 with my bleeding disorder and all the medications I was on, the whole battle, like almost 2-year battle I had with getting my health back. My body's like, I will do anything to protect you from going back into that state. But what my body doesn't realize is that by its protecting me, it is harming me. It's not protecting me in the right way. It's only protecting me in the way it knows how to. And it's not always, it doesn't always fire off the right signals. And so by the time I got back home, I was still a mess. I was still sleeping really horribly. My blood sugar was all over the place. I started getting a really stuffy nose. I started to get sick. And then I went to the chiropractor, who is Frank's cousin, and she adjusted me and put me back into parasympathetic for the first time. And I started feeling like hungry. You guys, I'm talking like since September 20th to now, I'm still not pooping regularly. Like, I'm having one solid normal bowel movement in the morning, but everything else is just like liquid. Like, my gut is still trying to figure itself out. But up until being adjusted, I was literally just pooping liquid out of my butt. I'm going to be so for real with you. My digestion was horrible. I couldn't keep anything down. Everything made me nauseous. Then the feeling of being nauseous sent me into another spiral. I was like, why am I nauseous now? Am I having an allergic reaction? Like, I was spiraling. And at that time too, my husband left for a work trip, and so I was alone, and I was so depressed. I was so anxious, and I was just afraid. I was really afraid. I was afraid of myself. I was afraid of not what I would do to myself, but I was having thoughts of like, I'd rather die than deal with this right now. It would be easier for me to just die than have to sit in this, because this feels so horrible. And it was very dark. It was very, very dark. And all in between this, I'm like praying. I'm asking Jesus for so much help. I'm asking for deliverance. I'm asking for him to just take away my anxiety and my anxious thoughts and just heal me and all this stuff. And the only breakthrough, the real true breakthrough that I had, was on the phone with my husband one night when he was on his work trip. And he was like, read Philippians 4. And I was like, okay. And I'm going to read it to you right now, actually, because it changed my perspective on my walk with Jesus. It changed my perspective on having anxiety. It changed everything for me. Let's go to Philippians 4. I'm going to read from the ESV translation. Starting in verse 4, rejoice in the Lord always. Again, I say rejoice. Let your reasonableness be known to everyone. The Lord is at hand. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. That one is a great verse, but these are the verses that really hit me. Finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there is any excellence, if there is anything worthy of praise, think about these things. What you have learned and received and heard and seen in me, practice these things, and the God of peace will be with you. Now, I'm going to be talking about anxiety, but not from a place of like having a chemical imbalance in my brain. To my knowledge, I don't think I have that. I think I just am very afraid of a lot of things that, it's a trauma response. So when I'm talking about these things, please know that I'm not talking about getting off your medication or trying to brush off the fact that like some people really do need medication to help rebalance their chemicals in their brain. I'm talking about people who like just deal with anxiety attacks, things like that. This verse, whatever you have learned and received and heard in me, practice these things and the God of peace will be with you, changed my entire life. because I have been praying, God, deliver me, deliver me, deliver me, take this anxiety away from me, take this fear away from me. And yes, he can do those things, but he's like, I want to give you situations where you have to practice the things that I told you in my word. I want you to fix your eyes on whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is worthy of praise. Fix your eyes on these things. Think of these things. Practice thinking about these things. And my husband is incredible because he has done most of his life, he has practiced retraining his brain to constantly default to positive rather than negative. And he is just so mentally strong in that way, where if he's in a conversation with someone that he doesn't want to be in a conversation with, he literally convinces himself that this is the most interesting person he's ever spoken to in his entire life. And he's just so good at overriding the pessimism and the negativity and the cynicism and all the things that I struggle with the most, where like I naturally lean more pessimistic, more complainy, more cynical, more just negative in general. And I don't have, I'm working on it, but I haven't had that mental stamina, that mental muscle to override those things, to pull myself out of those things. But in this 3-hour-long phone call that I had with my husband that night, everything changed. I was like, wow, there really is power of life and death in the tongue. What you say over yourself, what you declare over yourself, and how you think changes your entire reality. Perception and perspective is your reality. And if I'm gonna be so far pessimistic, it's almost like I'm being radically pessimistic. If I'm gonna be radically anything, I wanna be radically optimistic, because the Bible is radically optimistic. It's delusionally optimistic. Consider all things great joy when you go through trials of many kinds. Blessed are you when people persecute you for my name's sake, for your reward is great in heaven. Pick up your cross and follow me. If radical optimism, radical faith, radical joy, delusional faith. And I was like, if I'm going to be Delulu, I want to be Delulu on the way that makes my life better and not keeps me trapped and bonded to my trauma. And from that day on, I feel like I've been able to get better and stronger and more stable and more positive every day. So that was maybe 2 weeks ago, almost 3 weeks ago now at that point. And I'm still going to the chiropractor. I'm still in therapy. And I was like, homegirl therapy, like therapist, you have got to see me once a week. I know we do every other week, but I need you right now. And she helped walk me through. It's called IFS. It's called Internal Family Systems. Is the type of therapy I'm doing with her. And it's basically where you parent younger you. So like things that come up, memories that come up, you put an age to those memories or to those emotions, and then you parent that emotion. So one of mine for me was this like fear of embarrassment, which is at the root of a lot of my anxiety. And she was like, okay, embarrassment walked into the room. What does she look like? She's sitting across from you. And I was like, she's a dark ghost phantom with teeth, and she's taunting me and she's out to get me. She's trying to ruin my life. Like she's evil and demonic. And slowly after like her guiding me through like, okay, well, let's just thank her for showing up today. And I'm like, thank you for showing up today. Like, I hate you, but whatever. I started to be able to put a persona and a face and like almost characteristics to this emotion. And this emotion was 5 or 6 years old. And she just wanted to just get our toes painted together and take a dance class. And like after that hour-long session of like, you know, asking her what she wants to say and if she's trying to reach out to you and like really like what are her intentions, I was like, oh, like she actually was trying to protect me. Like this fear of embarrassment like was her trying to be like, hey, there's something wrong and I just want to alert you. But I kept ignoring her and pushing her down and suppressing her so much to the point where like she has to yell in my face and do these big drastic measures to get my attention, to be like, the house is on fire. The house is on fire. And I've just been like, no, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. You're trying to ruin my life. You're trying to make me be trapped in my anxiety. And she's like, no, like, I actually just want to warn you that like there's deeper issues here. And I don't want to have to yell at you for your attention. And so eventually at the end of the session, she ended up being like a 5-6 year old girl, just super innocent, almost puppy like, just being like, can we do girly things that like we never got to do because we were so afraid of being made fun of? And I just started bawling and being like, oh my gosh, like these emotions and these parts of me that I viewed as evil and dark and out to get me are really just protecting me. They're God-given tools that he put inside of us to protect us from harm. And I have been falsely accusing my emotions and my fear for being evil and demonic and cruel to me when they really were just trying to help me survive when I was a kid. And so I like asked her for forgiveness, and I was like, you're going to come up again throughout my life, but I just ask that this time you tell me that there's something wrong in a much subtler way. Like maybe tap me on the shoulder or maybe wave your hand. Like don't give me anxiety attacks, like I'll listen. I'm listening to you now. Like you have my attention. And this is the same type of theme that has been happening. I think a few videos back, I posted about that forgiveness bit. And I think I talked about how in that vision that I had from the Lord, when he was telling me to forgive all the people who ever harmed me, I was like holding people prisoner in my dreams. And that girl was like a teenager. She was like 13 years old. She was an angsty teen. And it's just interesting to like be able to pinpoint, put language to, and see and almost personify these different parts of myself that are coming up, and being able to draw the roots back to how long I've been living in this type of thing, how long I've been making agreements that like I am not worthy enough, like I'm not good enough, I will never measure up, I'm too sensitive, I'm not smart enough, I'm the dumbest person in the room, I'm the ugliest person in the room. Like when did I start believing these things? And being able to pinpoint it and trace certain things back to childhood has been really healing, because those are the areas that God runs to and is like, okay, we open this wound. Now I'm going to seal it over with my love and my truth and my word and what I say about you. And that has been really healing. Specifically with these verses in Philippians 4, it helped me be like, picking up your cross daily and denying your flesh, which in this case, my flesh is pessimism and self-sabotage and just negativity and keeping myself chained. Sacrificing your flesh is hard and it's a daily thing. Pick up your cross daily and follow me. But you don't always just wake up and be like, oh, I am so optimistic. I am so regulated in my nervous system. It adapts super well. It takes time and it's literally a practice. And so my prayer is switched from God, deliver me from this, to God, let me sit in this and work through this while you give me the tools to make lasting change, because I want this to be sustainable. I don't just want a calm nervous system. I want a flexible one, because to just tell my nervous system to be calm is like telling a woman while she's in a fit to like, just calm down, or someone struggling with like depression to be like, well, just don't think about your depression. It's like, dude, that is not the solution. Like, don't gaslight me into, like it's a daily practice. And yes, it can come overnight for some people, and maybe that's the Lord's plan for them. But for me, the Lord is like, baby girl, you are sitting in this. You are sitting in this suffering, and you are going to suffer well. And because you're going to be suffering well, and because you're going to be re-triggered by something almost every day, something's been triggering me to put me back into like, God is like, I'm going to give you opportunities to put into practice the things that I'm telling you to do. And by the way, scripture says, if you love me, you'll keep my commands. Jesus says, if you love me, do the things that I say. And I'm telling you to practice and fix your eyes on the things that are pure and honorable and true and excellent and worthy of praise. I'm asking God for help, and he's like, okay, are you doing what I told you to do? I'm giving you the answers. You have to do them. You have to sit in this. because what I'm building in you and what I'm pruning off of you is going to be beneficial for the rest of your life. As you guys know, Frank and I are like planning to start a family soon. And well, not right now because I am a little going through it right now. But when the time comes, like Frank and I's prayers have been, God, prepare us in any way you see fit for us to be parents. Like, we don't know what this journey is going to look like, but just start preparing us. And he's like, we're going to get the roots out of a lot of this negative thinking, a lot of this trauma, a lot of this stuff that you've been suppressing for so long. I don't want you to carry that into motherhood, because I could so see myself going down a path of being a very fearful based mom, a very anxious mom, a very nervous worrywart mom. Don't touch that. If my kid falls, I'm crying, being like, oh my gosh, they're going to die, catastrophizing. And the Lord's like, I don't want you to live in that. I don't want you to parent that way. I want you to be gentle, and I want you to be calm, and I want you to be grounded, and I want you to be able to handle stress better. I want you to be able to regulate your emotions better. And for that prayer to be answered, I got to go through things right now to put into practice the things that I'm learning so that I'm able to handle those moments with so much more ease. And it's been hard, but it's been so worth it. And every single day I'm feeling stronger and better. In between all this too, I started wearing a continuous glucose monitor because I feel like I had blood sugar imbalances, and when I was still in fight or flight, my blood sugar was all over the place. But now that I'm out of it and I'm healing, my blood sugar has been so stable. I'm 2 days out from my period now. And of course, my body is like, oh, the last time we had our period, something really scary happened. But I keep telling myself, like, no. And if it, again, God forbid it does happen, I'll survive it. I'll survive. It won't control me. It won't put an identity piece on me. It won't pull me so far under that I'm like, I'd rather die than be here right now. And my blood sugar, interestingly, has been a little bit, just a tiny bit more unstable heading into my period. So I'm interested to see if it's even more unstable on my period, because maybe I do have some sort of blood sugar stuff, but for the most part, it's been really stable. And that's been really helpful, because I'm wondering now if I misnamed what was going on with me and I blamed it on blood sugar issues when really it was just anxiety this entire time, and I've just been neglecting to deal with it. Or if there actually is something going on, which is definitely a possibility, but probably not. The Lord has been growing me up a lot. And this is the last section of this podcast that I wanted to talk about is, as God's preparing me for motherhood, He is giving me an intolerance for things that I have just been tolerating for a while. Specifically, the fact that I don't work a traditional job. I'm home by myself most of the day, and I'm like literally just like, I'm a dog mom and I write my books and I have clients that I see and I do my thing and I do social media. And I think the Lord is just shifting my heart, shifting a lot of things that feel scary. He's asking me to let go of things that feel hard to let go of. But I'm just growing up and I'm changing and I'm preparing to be a mom. And the Lord has been like, you are lazy, my girl. And like, I'm giving myself grace here. I don't actually mean that I'm super lazy, but when it comes to like putting myself out there in person, in community, making an effort with people, I make excuses for myself so much, and I would just rather just escape and numb out on social media. And I'm like, this is icking me out. This is giving me the ick. I can't do this anymore. And if God's going to bring me through valleys, if God's going to bring you through valleys and really hard seasons, He expects something to change on your part when you come out of it. And I just don't think I could be the same and continue to do the same things I was doing before all of this, because God is renewing my mind and putting new burdens on my heart and is asking me to step into other areas that are a little uncomfortable for me, but I know that He's leading me to. And I am just choosing to be faithful in that. We are so fortunate and blessed, and I'm so thankful. And I literally tell my husband this every day. I'm so grateful and thankful for how hard he works because he provides for our family, and it takes the pressure off of me to work a crippling 9 to 5 job again and put myself in environments where I feel like the Lord isn't calling me. But I am too alone. I'm too alone, and it's driving me absolutely mad. I don't talk to a human being from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. when my husband comes home. I get so lazy. I'm like not being as great of a wife as I should be. I'm like just cooking myself dinner. And by the time Frank gets home, sometimes I'm like, I don't know, just have the leftovers or like figure it out on your own. And like house stuff. Like I've just become too well rested and too comfortable in having my own schedule, being my own boss, doing things on my own terms, that I am losing my mind a little bit. And like a lot of the anxiety and stuff I have is because I don't have enough structure in my life. And I've never been a type A person ever, ever, ever. It feels unnatural for me to be a type A person, but I need to start being one. I need to start being more organized. I need to get on top of my stuff because I'm like, from the outside looking in, like you guys might think that I have a regimen and a routine and like my life is so great, but I am alone almost all the time. The only person I talk to is my dog. And I feel like I've developed even a bit of agoraphobia because I'm just so comfortable in my house and I'm so comfortable in my bubble that I get to control whatever I see on this device, and I get to control my algorithm, and I get to just feed myself with yes men and people hyping me up. And it's just not normal life. It's not normal. And I think the Lord is really teaching me to fall in love with the present moment, with the life that I have here. Though I am so blessed and I'm living in answered prayers, I am just detaching myself from social media in ways that I've never been able to before. Um, and the Lord is also like, you escape reality a lot. Like, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't party, I don't go to external vices to fill my void or to escape, but I escape through this little tiny screen that I can fit in my pocket. I escape to this way too much. Way too much. And I don't want to be the type of mom that puts my kid down to bed and all I'm doing is doom scrolling while like there's people to shepherd and friends to pray for and things to do and a world to see, but I'm just numbing out, dopamine hit, dopamine hit, dopamine hit, dopamine hit, dopamine hit, laughter, bawling my eyes out at a soldier coming home and being reunited with his family, being righteously angry at the things happening in the world, crying again because of an injustice, laughing because I saw a video of Spider-Man who fell on his face as he was running into the kids' playground. Like, what is our reality becoming? I am wrestling so much with my consumption of this thing. That'll be a whole other separate video because I feel very strongly about a decision I'm going to make. I'm not going anywhere on Instagram. The podcast isn't going anywhere. The Holy and Hormonal Instagram page isn't going anywhere. My other Instagram page isn't going anywhere. But there are some things that I feel like the Lord has been stirring in my heart for a long time where I'm having to make hard decisions and even just put myself out there more. Like I think I might be getting a part-time job at my church, which is going to be awesome. I'm going to be doing like back-end worship stuff and some admin stuff and going in maybe once or twice a week, which is such an answered prayer. I've always wanted to work for my church and get involved in my community more and volunteer and serve more and just get more in my community and just spread the light of Jesus, like face to face. Just took you through a whole whirlwind of emotions and things that God has been putting on my heart and speaking to me and doing in my life. And it's a lot to absorb in just 4 weeks or 3 weeks. How long has it been now? It has been 1, 2, 3, almost 4 weeks of this. I feel like I've grown in this past month more than I've grown in a few years. And that's because of therapy. That's because of Jesus. That's because of my husband. That's because of revelation. That's because of my church community. And that's because I am just no longer going to put up with things that my body is so clearly begging me to get rid of. I think your late 20s are for healing, because I think at your late 20s, your body is really tired of holding on to the things that it's been holding on to for your whole entire life. It's like, can we get rid of this stuff now? Can we actually heal this? Can we do something about this? And I feel like even late 20s is when autoimmune disorders start popping up out of nowhere, GI issues. Like, I just think a lot of women are running into health problems in their 20s because it's like, for the first time, we're being aware and made aware of the things going on, and we're becoming intolerant to just surviving. And I think that's what my focus is moving forward is I'm not going to just survive. I'm not going to just numb out. I'm not going to just get through the day. I want to have radical joy. And as crazy as this sounds, joy does not come naturally to me. It doesn't. I grew up in a family where if you expressed happiness or a funny emotion, someone made fun of you for it. So you were shut down. And the way that I overcome a lot of my issues is by choosing radical joy, choosing contentness, choosing happiness, choosing Jesus, and putting on a cloak of joy every single day. And it's been working. Y'all, I'm in the thick of my luteal phase right now, and I am happy-go-lucky. I'm chipper. I am feeling very optimistic and normal, but this is a daily choice that I'm making that's so counterintuitive to what my flesh wants to do, to choose the fruits of the Spirit, to choose to hold every thought captive, and to choose to submit these thoughts to Christ, and to choose to be more emotionally healthy so that I don't have to take on the weight of the world around me, that I don't have to feel other people's pain as my own, that I can sympathize, but also be able to put my emotions in a box and be like, that's not mine. That's not my burden to carry. That's not my thing to carry. We're not meant to carry the weight of the world. We're not. And it's wise and it's mature to ask God to help shield you emotionally and spiritually from things that he does not want to expose you to things that he does not want you to carry. And my prayers have been, Lord, help me remain empathetic and kind, but protect me and let me be able to brush things off that are not meant to stay with me. May they just pass through me. May the emotions and the burdens of whoever else pass through me. But if you want me to carry something, please make it known for me to carry it. As empathetic people and Enneagram number 2s, if there are any of you out there, I don't know how I feel about Enneagrams, but I think it's helpful in some sense to understand your personality type. If there are any other 2s out there, you know what I mean of like, you just take on other people's emotions and it's so hard to snap out of it. What the Lord is teaching me is that like boundaries are so healthy, and setting boundaries for yourself and from other people and from social media and what you're consuming, boundaries are biblical. And God, at the end of the day, cares about things that are either drawing you close to him or pulling you away from him. And I have been having to take a hard look in the mirror and be like, what is pulling me away from God? And what is feeding my spirit? Is it worth staying in this thing if it's pulling me away from God, distracting me from him, putting false identities and things in my mind, comparison, whatever it is it worth being in those spaces, or is it wise to protect my heart and trust that God has got me if I choose to step away from something? The answer is God is always going to be faithful. No matter what. No matter whether you go to the right or to the left, the Lord will be with you. If you are seeking him, if you are truly surrendered to him, there is no fear. Perfect love casts out all fear. Perfect love casts out all fear. If we, Philippians 4, practice fixing our eyes on perfect love, we will not live in fear. We will not be living in fear. We will not be living in anxiety, because perfect love casts out all fear. It has been a very challenging month, but equally as beautiful and healing and redemptive in so many other ways. My dog right now, if you're looking on camera, I literally like, she just wants to be on top of me 24/7, and I can't even like fit the mic around my mouth. Hello, mama. Here you go, girl. I am so grateful that you decided to click on this podcast and listen to it. I hope that you took something from this. I'm sure that there's things I left out, and things that I'm going to be like, oh man, I didn't get to talk about that. But that's why you guys can hear me yap whenever you want. And I'm going to keep showing up, and I'm going to keep doing the things that the Lord is telling me to do. And I'm going to keep being obedient and just following him, because that's all I can do in this season. And I'm learning to trust him. I'm learning surrender. I'm learning what intimacy looks like with him in a deeper and more meaningful way than I ever have in the past. And yeah, if you guys relate to any of this, know that you're not alone. Know that there are people out there who will talk about this or not talk about this, but there are people struggling with something. Everyone is going through something. And especially with the people that you're listening to podcasts to and watching videos from, just always know that there's something going on beneath the surface, and to just extend grace and pray for leaders, pray for your community, pray for people in your church, pray for your pastors, pray for the Christian content creators that you watch, pray for the artists that you listen to. We're in a spiritual battle, and we're all trying to figure life out. That's all I'm going to end on. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I am on Instagram. You can find me at holyandhormonal on Instagram. Feel free to shoot me a DM. If you want, put like a little microphone emoji in the front of your message so I know that it's specifically about this podcast. I will see you guys the next time I see you.